But before you jump in, tune in here to About Your House to listen and learn from the most experienced and reputable contractors and service providers in the industry. On today's show, we have Roddey Player, CEO of Queen City Homestore, joining us in studio. About Your House is brought to you in part by PutToolsInSchools.org, connecting students to tools of the trades and raising awareness of the many career pathways. About Your House is also brought to you in part by Queen City Homestore. Queen City Homestore is a family-owned store that's been serving the Carolinas for over 70 years. They're the largest independent appliance retailer in the Carolinas, constantly growing and taking pride in the experience that they offer customers with the knowledgeable sales staff, product selection, and lowest price guarantee. So sit back, relax, and enjoy some time with us as we spread a little love. And now, here's your host, Ray Terry.
Hey, good morning. Welcome to another edition of About Your House. Today's going to be a great show. A lot of information to throw your way since we have Mr. Roddey Player. Good morning, sir.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Roddey Player, the CEO, head cook, bottle washer of Queen City Homestore, family owned since 1952.
Wow.
And
long time.
Years.
Long time. I hadn't been there that long, but it's been a long time.
But you've been in the family a long time.
I have.
How's things going?
You know, Ray, we're so blessed. I'm just so lucky. We're so lucky to be raised and born and working in the Carolinas, living in the Carolinas. There's no finer place in the world, I think, than where we live right here and where we do business right here, too. So we're just so blessed to be here. Well,
I'm going to say this, Roddey, as I've been in the industry a long time and longer than most, one of the key ingredients to a successful business is good leadership and management. And your family and you have done a great job through the years. I noticed we got a sponsor banner here. And it says Charlotte's Best.
Yeah.
Top workplaces for 2025 now. So you were nominated one of the best places. Talk to us a little, embellish on that a little bit.
So, you know, we've been real proud of that. And we're on a run now of about probably 4 years now, I guess, since we were awarded the best top workplace. And so that's a kind of a local effort that we started investigating years ago. So really, you know, our business is really based in Charlotte mostly, in Winston-Salem and Greensboro. But we've recently ventured out across both North and South Carolina. But this initiative for top workplace, you know, I learned about it from an email that I got from somebody, one of our clients, one of our builder clients, and they said top workplace is on the signature of the email. I said, well, that's a pretty impressive kind of thing. And, you know, so I called and found what was that all about? And so, you know, their employees can nominate them for that award, and then they actually send out surveys to the employees. And they have certain measurements and rankings, and you know you have to have participation. Obviously, you know if you're nominated, but only 4 or 5% of your employees will fill out a survey, then that's obviously not engagement. So you don't score very well. But you have to hit certain plateaus for engagement, and then the surveys. You know, how does your employer treat you? How do you feel about the work you're doing? Your coworkers, the environment, all these different factors that you can imagine. You know, to make it a successful workplace. And so those surveys are calculated out, and so we've been lucky enough. We're on a 4 or 5 year run right now, and the survey's just closed for 2026. And so I say 2026. I guess it's the nominations and the awards come out the year of. So we're hopeful that we'll get it again. You know, our business has changed a lot in the last year. So, but we've been working hard to keep that level of engagement, support of our employees up.
Well, I've worked with Queen City Homestore my whole career in appliances. Being a remodeler, I had my clientele buy a lot of their goods from you.
Absolutely.
But one thing that I've noticed through the years, and you know, I'm going back to management and leadership. I've talked to your guys out in the field that deliver your appliances. I've met them. I've been on the job with them. I've been in your stores. I've talked to many of your employees through the years, and all of them seem to be very pleased, very happy, very upbeat. And I haven't seen one that was, negative.
Yeah, that's and that's difficult. And you think
I know it is. That's why I'm talking about it.
Especially for the guys in the field. I mean, you've been out in the field all your life, and you're handling the tough stuff, right?
Right.
And you got to have a certain patience to work through those scenarios. You got to have a certain ability to communicate with clients.
Most important thing we do every day is communicate.
Yeah, and so sometimes we see some clients that want to stick their nose in everything that we're doing, and why are you doing this and why are you doing that, and so they have to put up with that and modify their engagement based on the client's engagement too. In the perfect world, the client will step out of the way, let us do our work, and it's all done right, and we test it and everything else. But it doesn't always go right. You know that. And
sure.
Best communication in the world, but people don't always understand the question. And so our challenge is, and we probably accuse this a little bit, of asking too many questions. And why are you asking this and why are you asking that? It's because we've been doing it a long time.
You have to ask questions, and that's something that we'll talk. We always talk about on this show: the questions, the measurements, the planning. Because you only want to do it one time.
Well, it's expensive, especially in today's world when you have to go out and make a second trip because somebody didn't understand the question, or, we find ourselves frequently, and this because your client, maybe there's a builder involved or a remodeler involved, and the client's involved in a lot of the decision making, and we're engaged with them as much as we're the builder. And the client says, "I want my stuff, I want my stuff, I want my stuff," and the builder, we show up with the stuff, and the builder says, "I'm not ready for that stuff yet," and then what are we going to do with it? You can't leave it in the house. It's a risk for everything.
Sure.
Get torn up in the house. We're going to get shoved around and moved around the house. Floors can get messed up when you're moving things around. So we want to make sure and that's why we ask. And it might feel a little bit frustrating for the builder too and the client because, I don't know, the clients want to be involved in a process. And so we want to like I said, we have to communicate at the levels with the right person too.
I'm going to tell a quick story on that.
Okay.
Now. I got a call from one of your customers. Ray, we're replacing a Gen Air range, an old downdraft Gen Air range electric.
Yep.
And we were given your name for taking it out and installing a new one. I said, can you send me a picture of the range?
That's easy, right?
Huh?
That's an easy question.
Yeah, I said. She said, I'd be glad to. Well, I saw immediately it was a slide in.
Yeah.
The top slid over the counter, which is indicating a measurement.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, so she called me yesterday morning, texted me, and she says, I'm ready. I says, what do you mean you're ready? She told me a week ago she didn't know any schedule. She says they're coming to put the tops in after they put the brackets in for the countertop, the overhang. I says, okay. She says, when can you come? I says, when are you ready? She said, well, I'm available today. I said, yesterday morning I had no idea I'd be headed to Lancaster to pull a Gen Air downdraft out. So I called my helper because that's a two-man job to get it out of the house. Yeah. And here's the thing, though. Here's my point. When our first conversation, I told her, I said, are you aware, is your countertop company aware of what you're pulling out? She says, no. I says, well, they won't pull that out and disconnect it because of the downdraft, the motor configuration, and everything below. So I need to come disconnect it, pull it out before they come install the new ones. She said, I wasn't aware of that. Here we go. I said, so it's a 2-trip job. And I presume you want me to haul the old one away? And she said, absolutely, if you would, no problem. I'll come prepared. So anyway, a friend of mine, I called him up and said, can you run down to Lancaster with me real quick, hour drive? He said, sure. Well, actually, I wasn't planning I was going to do it Wednesday. He says, well, what are you doing today? And I thought about it a minute. I says, what the heck? Yeah. Let's go down there. Well, the whole time I was there, her and her husband were looking at me, watching everything I did. Right. Which doesn't bother me a bit. Right. Yeah. Very nice people, wonderful people. And once I was doing it, she understood exactly what I meant to take out. Now, these are the kind of things you do. And I told them what we were doing, why, and all this. And I said, when I come back, I've got to move that and that's a prime example of things that need to be done, but they didn't have a clue. Right. And see, things like that, when the countertop guys show up, and it's gas especially, they'll say, well, we can't disconnect that. So there's a 2-step process.
And maybe even a 3-step if they got a template for the appliances, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And delays. Yeah. Timing in between, not delays necessarily, but timing in between.
So all these, it's like a dance.
Right. Yep.
All of this, going back to what you said about builders. Right. You know, once that appliance is delivered, you've done your job. Mm-hmm. And then that damage, that appliance, the last thing you want is to see damage to that appliance.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Matter of fact, here's another factor, and you can help me here. A lot of people call me up and say they promised me, and we need to talk about this. Mm-hmm. They promised me they'd have it here Thursday. Can you come Friday? No, I'm not going to come Friday based on a promise from Queen City Homestore because things happen.
Yep.
The manufacturer doesn't get it shipped when it was supposed to. It doesn't show up. And here we are. I've set my schedule on something that's a maybe.
Right.
And maybes don't always work that way.
Yeah.
Well, they assured me.
Yeah.
I says, well, things happen that they can't help. And these are factors in delivery. Even with furniture, I'm sure you have the same kind of issues.
It's different, but and it's funny you say that because, matter of fact, there's a project you were working on last week with one of the fellows in the Pineville store out there. And, trucking is another industry that's in real trouble.
That's why I love to have you on the show, because you give us the big picture.
Yeah, there's a shortage of drivers. And so getting if you got, I don't know, I'm going to say Whirlpool's got domestic factories in the U.S., they've got some in Mexico, and some of it comes by train, some of it comes by truck. And so right now there's a shortage of truck drivers. I'm going to say eligible truck drivers. Oh, yeah. And so there's been some changes there. So moving freight from the west to east has changed a little bit. And even systems, I tell you, I've been doing this a long time, and systems and people, I don't know. Things just don't seem to be as reliable. And
they're not as reliable.
And so you just have to have a cushion. You have to have a cushion and set expectations. And it's just funny, but this you and I saw, I said I'm having trouble getting this particular piece. I looked up, but your name was on the ticket, and they're about picking it up and installing it.
I know exactly which job you're talking about.
I called him. I said, I don't want Ray to come over to the warehouse and pick this thing up because it hadn't shipped yet. Make sure you're talking to him and don't let him schedule. To your point, you don't want to allocate your time and resources because you can't make it up, right?
No.
If any contractor
that
out
day's
there,
scheduled.
Yeah, it's scheduled, and so you lose money if you go out there and waste your time. And I didn't want you wearing me out on the radio here talking about that either. But no, it's just you just have to set a cushion, and we do our best. Golly, Ray, we do our best to qualify and talk. And salesmen, can be anxious. I want to get it out there. I want to they're pleasers, right? They want to please you as a client.
Sure.
And that means doing things exactly as you want them. Sometimes they might be anxious to get things out there quicker than we can possibly do. But everything lines up. It looks like it's in the warehouse. It looks like it's going to get on the truck. It's going to ship to us. It's going to hit our warehouse the next day or whatever. And all of a sudden the driver didn't show up. Or the system didn't process it properly to get it on that truck. And,
right.
And then you learn a little bit about how systems work, and sometimes, but just. I said, you heard my word patience the other day. It's not patience for installation side of things because they can be complicated, but patience in dealing in this environment. And it's a frustrating process to remodel, to build, to do anything like this is frustrating. So we as trades, all of us as trades and suppliers and vendors, we do our best to communicate the best information that we've got, but it just changes sometimes. And so I'm going to say 99 times out of 100, it's going to work. Yeah. But there's that one time, and it's going to affect somebody negatively.
Well, that job you're referring to, the one you saw, you get around a lot in that company too. It's amazing what Roddey Player knows. But to start with, that same customer told me they promised me it'd be here Thursday.
Yeah.
Can you come Friday?
Yeah.
I says no.
Yeah.
And sure enough, Mr. Cook called him up and said it didn't get here in time for us to get it out there. And I said. And I sent the text back. I said, just as I told you might happen, it happened. But he says, when can you? And I told him I'd get out there Monday. And
that was exactly the system area. It looks like it's there. It looks like it's going to ship. But for whatever reason, the system didn't kick it out onto a delivery dock or whatever. And so I called Kevin. Don't you let Ray show up over here without that thing being
here. And something I'll tell everybody, I don't deliver appliances. And here again, the reason being, Queen City Homestore's got these big guys, these big trucks. That's what they do.
Right.
And the liability becomes mine when I pick it up and deliver it. And I don't want that liability. I'll just tell you flat out because they're covered. That's what they do. And some people say, well, you can go get it. No, I am not an appliance delivery guy. And plus, it takes two men to handle the vast majority of appliances. They have two men.
And they're trained. And it's funny, you talk about big guys. I've seen the biggest guy in the warehouse, new on the job, who you think, man, this guy's going to be good. He ought to be able to do this and that and the other. He doesn't know how to use a hand truck.
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked. I showed you the toolbox out here.
Yeah.
We spent 2.5, 3 hours one Saturday morning with the kids.
Yeah.
I have about anywhere from 3 to 10 kids here every Saturday morning for a workshop. These kids are anywhere from 10 to 17. And a pallet jack.
Oh, yeah.
It's hilarious to watch kids run a pallet jack.
Yeah.
Then you give them a hand truck, and there's not but two or three different styles of hand truck.
Right.
And to your point, this guy had no idea, never operated a hand truck.
I mean, you can see a 300-pound man that can't pull back on a hand truck, and then a 100-pound guy can do it nothing flat.
Right.
It's about leverage. It's about leverage and points of leverage, and it's not hard. But if you don't know what you're doing, then
you got to practice.
And then Ray, I can't tell you how many times my dad used to talk about this all the time. But when you get to a job site, walk the job site first. You know how many times and personally. When I was a kid on a delivery truck, 14, 15 years old, you pick up something, you take it into the house, and you realize there's a door there.
Yep.
You got to set it down, open the door, pick it back up, and then walk through. My dad, why didn't you open the door before you even started?
Right.
You walked the process, and then you wouldn't have to set it down and risk an injury.
Sure.
Right? Risk an injury. So we always train our guys to go walk the job site first.
Walk it out.
Make sure, and frequently we go
path of least resistance.
We'll go into houses, and then you do it once. You go in there, and all of a sudden that last doorway not wide enough.
Right.
The back door is fine, but you go in there. You came in the front door. You go through that last door entry. It's 30-inch door, and you got a 32-inch wide product. Won't go through there, and so
I did that yesterday. Lady, she said, "What are you looking for, Ray?" Because I was looking. I said, I'm checking out my path of where are we going?
Yeah.
Am I going through the garage? We got cars in there. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the front door.
Yeah.
So you got to map your path out. And to your point, tape measure readings very, very necessary because of those doors. So, but there again, it's a dance.
Yeah.
You get there, and a lot of people said, you act like you've done this before, right?
Oh, God, it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But, you talked about some of the guys that are working for us that have been on, these guys have been around a long time. They make good money. I will say that.
Well, you can't, your point, they make good money.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons you're a top workplace.
Yeah.
You take care of your employees.
Sure. But they've learned those lessons, and we try and train them on the front end of it. But sometimes you got to actually happen to you that first time before you realize, what, they told me this, but I wasn't listening
you
hard enough.
You got to make mistakes to learn.
Yeah.
It's the only time we human beings learn is when we fail. And that's why I encourage young people, don't fear the unknown. Mm-hmm. Don't fear the unknown. Go ahead and make the mistakes.
Yeah.
Just hopefully you won't make a bad one.
Yeah. Or a costly one.
Or a costly one. You got it.
Yeah.
So, but the fact of the matter is, you got to do what you got to do.
Right. But it's training, communication, having people care about what they're doing too. We feel like that we hire people that have a genuine passion for taking care of things and doing things the right way, and of course, like I said, they get paid for it. But like I say, it just makes the day go by better. Our clients are more satisfied, and if you're got people that work in that direction, then you'll have a lot less losses, whatever it may be, some kind of damage or something didn't work quite right, or an extra trip, whatever it may be out there. But when you got people that are really thinking about what they're doing, and that's the other thing, teaching people how to think, not just do, but let's think about what we're going to do before we do it. So let's think through it, walk the job site, make sure we're measuring the openings that can all fit in there. Because our clients, we actually try and think of them as our guests. They choose to visit our stores, so we're guests in our place of business, and so we want to treat them that way. And so we ask them a lot of questions. And this technology, send me a picture of what you got. Somebody call me, I need a new microwave. Need this. Send me a picture of what you got. Well, been doing it a long time. You send me a picture of what you got. Send me the model number plate.
Make and model number.
I know exactly what it is. I know what the dimensions are.
Yep.
And so we had one, just a friend of mine the other day. He sends me that. that, and within 10 minutes, we've got an order in the system, and we're going to deliver the next day for them on install a little microwave and a trim kit. And so it's easy. And so my salespeople get frustrated because they'll make a mistake and I'll get a picture of it. No, they wouldn't send it to me. Why wouldn't they send it to you? If you're having a communication, if you communicate at the proper level, then it shouldn't be hard to get, because we've got the same idea in mind. We want to make sure it goes the right way and it's easy for you, less frustration for you, and just if you'll just help us prepare on that front end of it, then we can make it go right. So
to that point, sometimes the customers, you, a homeowner, will go out and buy a vent hood. Well, that vent hood covers a certain amount of area on the backsplash. And if your new vent hood is smaller than your existing vent hood, and the ceramic tile doesn't go up all the way to your new vent hood, there's going to be a gap there without any tile. You're not going to be happy with that.
Nope. Right.
And people will tell me, and I'll say, send me the make and model. And then I'll look at it, and it gives me all the measurements, that I need, and I'll call them back. Or, how deep is your existing hood? Because it looks thicker. Then does the tile go up? Ray, I didn't think about that.
Right.
You're not going to be happy if I come out there and replace it.
Well, they do it once every 15, 20 years, right?
Right.
And we do dozens and dozens every day.
Right.
And so that's what we're trying to help them. And they don't know why we're asking all the questions, but we're trying to help make it go easy, make it easy.
And then I tell them when I get there, I've already installed this 4 times.
Yeah.
They say, what do you mean you've installed it 4 times? Yeah. In my head.
Yeah.
Because the minute I look at your job, I have to figure out what's all needed. What size ductwork? What size is the unit? What's it covering? What are we dealing with your backsplash, the power? So
we had backsplash. So we've got a builder we do business with. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of homes with this home builder, and the microwave that they've used for years, new model came out, dimensions changed. I mean it's cabinet changes, backsplash, because they built the same house in the subdivision. Virtually every third house was exactly the same thing, and so it was a nightmare trying to figure out what to do to change that cookie cutter process. And so trying to make sure those things happen is not always easy.
I got to tell this story because it was fun. Remember Allison Fence?
Yeah.
Oh, Al Allison called me about.
He told me he had a PhD one time. PhD. I said, "What's this? Have you got well educated? Post hole digger. PhD post hole digger."
Is that what he said?
That's what he told me.
He's a very colorful man.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's 78, I think he was.
Yeah.
But I went to install his new microwave.
Yeah.
Had an old Thermador combo unit with a microwave upper, and it was attached to a Thermador oven.
Oh boy!
Cradle and all, and I had no idea what I was going over there to face. But I went prepared because I knew what I might have to do.
Right.
But here's this guy. As I says, "What'd you do, Al?" He says, "You ever heard of Allison Fence?" I said, "Sure, I have." And then we got to talking because he was born and raised in Charlotte.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, he's going to do a podcast with me.
Oh, good.
Because of the history that man knows around Charlotte.
Ask him about where he got his PhD from.
Yeah. But anyway, so I went over there and I had to literally disassemble the cradle that microwave sat on top of that oven. And I did it without pulling the oven out all the way. And then I had to put a shelf in there and make it all work.
Oh, wow.
And I did it.
Yeah.
And he was pleased as punch. He really was. But there's another example. Sometimes I go out there, I don't know. I just, because of my experience and depth of knowledge around this stuff, I was able to work it all out.
Yeah.
But it's challenging out there. Well, let me talk about some sponsors here. Let me start with ABS Insulating. I don't have my list, Mr. Richardson. I'm going to go by what I got, okay, in my head. We're going to do ABS Insulating. ABS Insulating, we talk about family businesses on this show a great deal. ABS Insulating was started right here by family and very successful insulating company. Both open cell, closed cell foam, bad insulation, air seal programs, you name it, they'll find the comfort you need in your house. Right now, I talk a lot about attic encapsulation because summer's on us. Attic encapsulation can save you tons of money. in your energy bills and give you the extra comfort you need from that air conditioner that's struggling to keep up right now. Imagine having a 2,000 square foot house, a 2-story house, and that makes your footprint of the house about 1,000 square feet. Well, that attic encapsulation will reduce your attic temperatures in summer from about 140, 150 down to no more than 80 degrees. Think about that. That's a tremendous difference in energy load on your house. And think of the comfort you could establish or get using your existing air conditioner, that one that you thought wouldn't last another 5 years. Call them, Google them, whatever you need to do, but online's better, absinsulating.com. And don't forget their gutter division. They have a whole gutter division that specializes nothing but gutters. I know it's ABS Insulating, but they know their gutters too. Give them a call, absinsulating.com. FCI, Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Another family-owned business. Fixing to make a shift. We'll keep you up to date on that. But no matter where you are around Mecklenburg County, Charlotte metro area, Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte will take care of you. Be it Gaston County, Iredell County, Union County, it doesn't matter where you're at. They'll come to you. Five showrooms at your disposal. What I mean by that is they bring the showroom to you in their little van. They got you covered, be it hardwood, engineered flooring, LVP, LVT, whatever the case may be, stair treads, whatever. Doesn't matter. They got you covered on floor coverings. That's Floor Coverings International, Southeast Charlotte. Online, yourflooringteam.com. And let's don't forget about Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. Yep, another family-owned type business. When I say type, 2 boys grew up together, went to college together, got out of college, says we're going to make a difference. Opened up Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. Do great work, total transparency. They come out to your house, whether it's foundation issues, crawl space issues, slab problems, doesn't matter. Rhino Lift Foundation Solutions. That's rhinoliftfoundations.com. Today's show, Queen City Homestore. Yep, Queen City Homestore. Roddey Player in the house talking about what's new, what's old, what issues we got to deal with. Great show ahead. Stay tuned in as me and Roddey discuss what's new around the Queen City Home Store and the industry. And glad you came in today. It's been a while.
I tell you, Alan Hoppy, my buddy at ABS Insulating.
Alan, yeah.
Local company, been around a long time. It's a good friend of mine. Good people.
Yeah, they are good people. As a matter of fact, it was a bear to get them back on the show here, but we've got them scheduled to come back in and do a show about what all they can help you with as a homeowner, whether you're remodeling or new or whatever. They've got you covered.
That's great.
But talking to Roddey here, how long's it been since you changed the new name?
We actually opened that Pineville store in 2017 and had furniture in there and called that particular location Homestore. Mm-hmm. But last year, I think we probably talked about it when we opened up 10 stores in North and South Carolina, big stores, and they were in the furniture business first.
What cities are you in, if I'm going to interject?
I'll tell you what, we go from Aiken, South Carolina, Boiling Springs, so it's in Spartanburg County, Greenwood, South Carolina, Columbia, Goldsboro, Fayetteville, just opened up in Aberdeen, the Pinehurst area, Burlington, Durham. So we opened up 10 stores last year.
What are you doing? And what I mean by that,
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
I'm not real sure.
That's a good question.
Well, you've been an appliance and TV, audio, video, and now here you are going to furniture.
Yeah.
And I said, and I remember when you opened the Pineville store and nice store and put furniture in there.
Right.
That was the start.
Yeah, it was. And so you talked about, Ray, we're selling the same stuff in our stores that a lot of other people are out there, and so maybe it's a commodity or whatever, but where we win is these guys in the field, to be honest with you. Our people in the stores, are great at what they do, trying to understand and find out what clients want, but the differentiator is really those guys in the field, and it's the guys in the big guys in the big trucks that deliver appliances. They can deliver furniture too, and so the distribution, the warehousing, all these different things that made sense. And you think about it, our customers that were buying appliances, there's something going going on in their homes, they're buying furniture too. And so when we had the opportunity for bigger stores, bigger buildings, it just made sense. It's products for the home. We're trying to help our guests not only do their kitchens, but like I say, they're doing something else in the house. So whether it's a living room, a bedroom, a dining room, you know, it's we can handle all of it now. And so some of our Charlotte stores haven't converted yet, but we got a brand new store in Pineville too. We moved across the street.
Yeah, I've been there.
And so it's a beautiful, beautiful store. We've got even have some designers in there that we can come into your home and measure it, and you touch measuring again. They know how to run a measuring tape and help you pick out customized colors and things like that. It's not all custom. Some of it we can deliver, you know, within a day or two. The custom stuff might take 6 or 8 weeks, so we got to plan that and get it out there early. But we run the whole gamut. So we've got stuff we can deliver today or tomorrow, and then we've got stuff that might take 8 or 10 weeks to get. But the furniture has just been a lot of fun. And it's that same customer, same guest. So our distribution is set up to handle it. And so it just made sense for us to do it. It's not, there's some people in the industry sell furniture and appliances, but they're normally furniture stores that dabble in appliances, but coming at it from a really strong appliance business. We're a top 30 retail in the country in appliances.
Top 30?
Yeah, to get in the furniture business is different. So a lot more scale to our business, and so it's going to be a really nice part of our business. I really believe it's going to be 30 or 35% of our business in a couple of years. And so we're looking forward to it. Yeah.
How's the conversion in other cities working out for you?
We opened up 10 stores, and in these 10 stores, you know, like anything else, some of them are on fire, and some of them we got some work to do. So as a whole, I would love the people that we brought in to help us do what we do. They're great people. They're great customer service people, and it's just getting the word out there that we're committed to the marketplace, and we're starting to see the door swings are improving, more people coming in, and so the word's getting out. And so, you know, some of the stores, they were familiar with our brand. Rockingham is a store. We got a location there, and that's a television market for Charlotte. So they watch our TV stations in Charlotte when they're not streaming, I guess. So there's brand awareness there. That store is doing well. We're in Winston-Salem and Greensboro for several years now, and so Burlington is another store that's doing better because there are some brand awareness. But anytime you're starting a new business, trying to build a brand, you're trying to build a brand with your tools and schools. Sure. Essentially, it's not easy, and so it takes effort.
It's not.
It takes effort, consistency, reliable kind of messaging to make sure people understand and get it.
I'm going to ask you something as a business owner.
All right.
Because we've both been in Charlotte a long time. Here of the past, well, since COVID, let's use that as a benchmark.
Changed our world, didn't it?
Have you not found it to be harder to get things done with people?
Yeah.
Than it's ever been?
Yeah. Of course, I would say not necessarily our people, because...
Well, no, it's people's the hard business.
Yeah, but I'm saying our business doubled during COVID. So our people were working night and day, wearing themselves out, to be honest with you. And I may have told you this story.
Teresa Jordan,
yeah,
she alluded to that.
Yeah. So
last time I was in the store.
But the reason our business exploded is because people were staying at home.
Sure.
And so they were nesting, essentially. So they were trying to, they got some money too from the government to help us get through it all. They spent that money on improving their homes. So our business doubled. Our people couldn't keep up. And so we didn't lose our work habits. But for the people that used to be in office that now work, a lot of them still work remote, their habits changed. And so it wasn't as structured a workplace. And so I find part of what you're talking about, the urgency to get things done, is just not there with some people anymore. And that's what I think a big part of it. You want to get something done, it's second nature to you to go get it done now. Some people, it's just not that way anymore since COVID, because things just kind of slowed down for them. And so, but we talk about speed all the time in our business, because we win by speed and doing things quickly and getting it done now and not waiting until tomorrow, not kicking the can down the road. But I think the work habits of a lot of people during COVID, not that it's wrong or it's bad or
it just changed.
It's just changed. It's different. But our urgency amplified during COVID when others maybe slowed down a little bit. And there's a conflict there. So we're trying to go, and others are just not working at that same pace sometimes. And I find that from our suppliers, I guess their business changed too. And I think that's part of it. Does that make sense? It's urgency that we got to get back into the system to go get it done now. It's not going to be any different tomorrow. You said it. you went down that day instead of waiting until the Wednesday or whatever to go to Lancaster, right?
Sure.
Why can't we? If we got time, let's go do it today. Check it off the list and work on something else tomorrow.
There
that's
you go.
That's kind of the way we think about things. Let's do it today because tomorrow's going to be another opportunity for us. So let's go get one more today, and then tomorrow we'll go find some more business. And that's really kind of in our culture. It's actually one of our core values is hunger to go get more, go do something else, get one more thing done, get one more client taken care of, one more guest taken care of, one more delivery done, one more customer service issue solved today. All these kind of things. And so that's part of our core values that I'm just not sure it's out there for a lot of other organizations these days. And well, I wish it was. And we push hard. And so it creates some conflict in us dealing with vendors and things like that too, because we want it now. We want it now because it's urgent to us and it's not as urgent for others. So.
Well, it's just definitely, to me, a different time. Because back, 20 years ago, you could get 5 guys together and build stuff, make something happen. You can't do that this day and time like you used to be able to do.
Yeah.
You know, and I've just found it harder to get help than it's ever been.
So and that's back to the trade development that you're so focused on, to trying to develop these young people and teach them the trades, and we're feeling that in the appliance business too, with appliance service. You know, how do we train them to be able to service refrigerators and washing machines in the homes out there these days? And unfortunately, you know, patience again. Sometimes our clients that have bought stuff that has service are having to wait longer than they're comfortable waiting. I've got people that try and expedite things and try and put us at the front of the line, which they frequently do, and communicate that urgency to our service providers out there. But there's not a lot of young people lined up to you know, and how do you train them? If you can work on a refrigeration product, you know, the HVAC schools,
sure.
Central Piedmont, and you know, you're trying to do it from a different angle, but you know.
Well, let me tell you some hard cold facts, and all of us sharing this. You know, I went to a career day at a middle school last Friday. Put tools in schools, and it was a career day. And 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, that is middle school. Okay, that's middle school of today as we know it. Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, I've been to 5 middle schools this year. And Friday was no different than the preceding days, you know, schools that I've been to. Kids do not know what the trades are. 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They don't
even know what a plumber is, electrician is.
They don't know the trades as it's related to what we live, or the way we live. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And now, if the 8th graders don't know, that means the 9th graders aren't going to know as well, moving into high school. And I did an interview. Well, I confronted that last fall at Queens Grant High School, which I'm supposed to be at tomorrow. Tomorrow morning we've got an event, if it works out, because we've only got, in here again, industry's got to step up and support these programs. How are our students to know what the trades are unless we teach them? And you say, well, what are schools for? I've been asking that question now for about 3 or 4 years. What the heck are schools for? Because tape measure reading, it doesn't exist. High school kids, 90% of the high school kids I've talked to do not know how to read a tape measure. And now, since AI's on us, and we'll talk about AI a little bit too.
Yeah, great.
Since AI's here, now the threat of AI taking your job is upon us. And I'm getting calls from industry people or people that are much younger than myself talking about the trades and how AI is going to affect the trades. AI, is it AI proof? Well, everything you do, Queen City Homestore does, is AI proof. Am I right or wrong?
What is that? What do you mean by that?
AI is not going to take your employees' jobs.
No. We want to leverage the technology to expand their job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So AI, your employees won't suffer at all from AI takeovers, right?
No, absolutely
The trades, working with your hands, your mind, critical thinking every day, which is pretty much non-existent now. AI is not going to take any jobs away. It's AI proof. But if the kids don't know what the trades are, then how am I supposed to explain to them how the trades are AI proof?
Yeah.
We got a big, big issue. And I say we because we all share in that.
So think about this. You know, we just want things to work. We don't necessarily care how they work, but somebody's got to fix them when they're broken.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's what I think that all the technology, all the advancements and things, you know, my phone just works, my computer just works. But when things break, are they going to be able to put them back together again? And that's what, you know, you and other, you know, you build things from the ground up. And so you assemble things, you manufacture it, and whether
sure.
Even if it's not a big factory, you're still manufacturing whatever the output is. And so, you know, they still have old shop in the school
there is
program.
no shop.
So I went and made my birdhouse and made my little chair and
sure.
shop, and I knew how to run a drill, and knew how to, you know, the importance of sanding things before you stain them, before you put your varnish on, and so.
So you know all that, Roddey.
Yeah.
I work with kids every Saturday morning over here at the toolbox.
Yeah. Yeah.
These kids didn't even know how to operate a hand truck.
Yeah.
We talked about it, a pallet jack. They don't know what tools are. You put we put the banners up out there this past Saturday. Mm-hmm. They've never had a hammer drill in their hand.
I can tell you, some of your listeners probably remember Mr. Oxner and Mr. Rowland at McClinic Junior High School and shop.
Well, see, you remember it because
those
memorable.
Those
stuck with you because you're working with your hands. You're the freedom, the empowerment of that working with your hands and accomplishment is nothing else compares to it.
Yeah. My 97-year-old mother still has that little chair. It's not a chair. It's kind of a little storage thing. Looks like a chair sitting beside her living room. The chair she sits in to watch TV still to this day, that little chair is still sitting beside her.
How is your mom doing?
She's doing great. You know, she's 97 years old and still working, right? Don't tell anybody. But she's still working out there. I might get in trouble with the social services
Victoria,
people.
she said, Francis wants to know.
Yeah.
I said, oh, my goodness. Now, there's
She's
the boss right there.
Yeah, she really is. And so we're
she's still
proud of her.
coming in?
She is. No.
She doesn't come in anymore?
She hasn't come in since COVID. I think she's probably the oldest remote worker in the country, so we might need to get to the Guinness people on that. But she's been working from home since COVID hit. We just put her up down there, and she's probably working 20, 25 hours a week down there.
There's a great example of purpose. Mm-hmm. You'll live longer if you have purpose. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, as they get, my age, and younger and some older, you just got to have purpose.
Right.
It gives you life.
Yep.
And your mother's a prime example of that.
Yeah, my dad was the same way. He was going to work until he just couldn't, and he did. He worked as long as he possibly could. And I'll tell you a funny story. I know we got time for some storytelling here.
Oh yes, we got all kinds
of storytelling
time.
He had a group of guys he played golf with all the time, and lawyers and doctors and things like that. He just played golf with them, and they all retired at 55 and 50 and 55 years old back in those days, back in the 90s, 80s, 90s, and they go play golf, and they come in, always play a little card game or something like that when they finish. These guys that are retired, he was still working full time and working hard, and their card games, they kind of lost their edge in cards. And in his mind, he put that they were losing their mental capabilities because their card game wasn't as sharp as it was. But when they were working full time, so he's sitting there raking the money in off the table, because he was taking advantage of them. I'm exaggerating that, but that challenged him. He said, I don't want to lose my mind, deteriorate, and I want to keep working and keep sharp, and that work ethic he had.
How old was he when he passed?
He was 75 years old. So we
what
it was too early.
You don't mind
it was prostate cancer.
Okay.
Yeah, so got a diagnosis, and about 8 months later, we lost him. But great man, hard-working man, worked as hard as he could, as long as he could, and that work ethic, it still remains out in the whole company. It really does. I've got probably 30, 40 people in the company that he was involved in hiring back in the day, too, that are still with us. So great man. But
yep, well, he raised his kids well, too. And now
I tell you, it's
we're 3 generations in now, aren't we?
We are, yeah. My son and daughter are working. They're doing a really great job. My son is watching over logistics and operations, and he's doing some merchandising and buying now, too. My daughter works on the back office, the finance, the accounting, the customer service stuff she's looking after. And so, yeah, we're real proud of them, what they're doing. we've got fourth generation in training. My son's got a granddaughter and a grandson that we're hoping we'll get them in the training program here shortly. So
how old are they now?
4 and 2.
4 and 2. I got you. I got a 4-year-old grandson.
We'll get him in a training program here soon.
Yeah. I got a 4-year-old grandson. I went down to see him Sunday, spent some time with him. Wow. 4-year-old. He's out there flying a drone.
Oh, my Lord. Yeah. Wow.
Like it's driving a car.
Yeah.
He was out in the backyard just Sunday.
Yeah.
Flying the drone. He says, "Come on, Granddaddy, let's go."
Yeah. How about that?
So we went out there, and he just flies a drone like it's second nature to him.
Yeah.
These kids are amazing with technology, but
they are.
It's just amazing. Well, let me take a little minute here to talk about some sponsors here. And we can't forget, this show's all about home, all about your house, remodeling, improving your home. Queen City Homestore, for example, a great resource for your home and what you need in your home, be it appliances, media, whatever. And Queen City Homestore is a great store of choice and a great resource. But when you talk about your house, you need many resources, such as Kilo Exterminating, Kilo Pest Control. Kilo's we talk about family-owned, 1939, 3 generations into it now, since 1939. And then Dr. Kilo, Ralph Kilo, his father started it, and then the Kilos. See, there's we got a lot of family-owned businesses that sponsor this show, and they started with family. And now we talk about Kilo. Well, Brian Wyndham, he 3rd generation son-in-law of Dr. Kilo, and doing a great job with Kilo Exterminating. Great company. And if you're looking for a great company to come out to your house and check for wood destroying or just pest in general, pest control, ants. Ants are always a big problem. Give them a call. Go online, kilo.biz. Kilo.biz. Great company. Like I said, 3 generations old, do a great job. Each technician certified entomologist, so they know what they're doing. That's Kilo Exterminating, kilo.biz. And, of course, don't forget Queen City Homestore. Corporate number 704-391-6000. Online, queencityonline.com. Talking to Roddey Player in studio today, the CEO, the big dog at Queen City Homestore. Speaking of Queen City Homestore, how do people get to y'all primarily in today's world? Do they go online? Do they call you? How's that working?
Ray, that's a great question. And we see a tremendous amount of web traffic that comes in. And our web traffic, I'm going to say, is not people from the rest of the world, but we see a lot of people that are local that go to our website first to look around a little bit. And so our website's really, it's e-commerce. We can buy online from us, and we see some people that buy online and never come in the store.
Well, that's what I was alluding to. Are they buying online?
They are buying. They can buy online, and it's always going to be a competitive price. I don't care where the price might come from. We have systems in place, and we actually crawl the website and find the best prices everywhere and make sure that we're never above the best price in the marketplace, so that you're never going to pay more than that, and hopefully pay less than market price in our stores. But we see a lot of traffic there. A lot of people will, and we see them go to the website, and then they click on the locations to find the store nearest them.
Right.
There's capabilities that would find the store nearest me. If your location logs in there, it'll tell you which store is closest to you. So we see a lot of traffic that way. The phones ring off the hook too. So they get that. I think they get the phone number off the website too. You don't see the yellow pages and that kind of stuff anymore.
I know. That's why I was curious. Because marketing has changed so much in the past. 10, 20 years? Yeah,
it has. And while you're talking about location, I do want to bring up one thing that I'm sure a lot of your listeners, our Independence Boulevard store, we opened up in 1964, I think it was my dad's. Actually, his 3rd location.
At Village Lake?
No, the one back inside of Idlewild. Amity Garden Shopping Center, they used to call that.
Okay.
And
I remember
it used to be
that.
us in there, a little Sears store next to, a little small Sears store next to us, appliance store. And but we've been there since 1964 or whatever, and moved out to Village Lake Drive in the quorum out there in probably 1988 or so. And the DOT's continue to work on Independence Boulevard, and is actually eminent domain, taking that whole shopping center where Lebo's is, or where we are. There was an old K&W cafeteria out there that closed up years ago, but so they actually, were forced to close that location.
So
they're
going to tear down that whole shopping center?
Village Lake Drive is going to fly over Independence Boulevard. And so there's going to be an access road from Village Lake that goes right through that shopping center property onto Independence Boulevard.
Oh, really?
Like Idlewild's, like the Idlewild overpass.
Hearing it first right here on About Your House.
So it's terrible for our business because Roddey's one of our largest stores from its opening. And so, but there's also going to be road construction continuing on Independence Boulevard for decades. And so we haven't been able to find another replacement location for that building. So our people were redeployed in Monroe. There's a Monroe store out there that,
right.
Rick Webb, a lot of people know that from that store. He's out in Monroe. And then some of the others, our store manager there is running my new store in Pineville. So we're not far away. But I need your listeners to know that is that their store of choice, then Monroe store is not that far away, and then our Pineville store is there also. And we also see some of those guests coming to our store by the airport on Queen City Drive over there. So it's heartbreaking to me. That was one of the early things I did when I got out of school, was help kind of put that thing together for that new location at Village Lake Drive. But we're continuing to look for a location out there that
so
works.
You're looking for another location.
We are, but the road construction is going to be so tough out there anyway.
Real estate in Charlotte, commercial real estate's tough too.
Yeah. So I can't find the right location for us. And with our furniture business, we need a bigger building than we had before.
Sure.
And so, we're trying to figure out what it looks like out there going forward. But we want to make sure our guests know that our clients, our former customers, and we want to make sure they know we're still here. And it's not a sign of the business struggle. It's a sign of progress. Is that the right word for the city?
If you live in Charlotte, I'd call it progress and just change.
Yeah.
The one thing that's inevitable in Charlotte, constant, is change.
Yeah. But it's tough. It's tough trying to figure out what to do. But we love our customers there, and we've always done a ton of business in that marketplace. And but we're still here. We're still able to serve. Hopefully, those people are going online. And I tell you one thing: when you do shop online with us, we monitor those orders very, very closely to make sure they're right too, because people, they make mistakes when they're in store with us. Why would they not make mistakes online too? So you can rest assured that we're analyzing, going over online orders too to make sure they're accurate. If there's questions about it, we'll reach out to you and make sure that we know what we're doing before we go again. So same process. We're going to deliver to you. Well, I still want to know what you have or send me a picture of it. So we work pretty hard to make sure that executes well too.
Well, alluding to what you talk about as far as making model number. When you're dealing with appliances, it's absolutely essential that you know all the facts. And we're going to talk more about appliances next hour. But many, many times, and I know you're aware of it above anybody, one digit, like a 0 and a 6, those two numbers right there. And let me explain. Most model numbers carry the size within the model number, right?
Right.
Like if you see a 30 there or a 36, well, 30 is obviously a 30-inch range or a 30-inch cooktop or 30-inch, and that's more standard. I'd say it's the more standard of all of them, 30-inch. When you agree to that,
right? I
know there's 36. I know there's even a few 42s out there, rare, but they exist, and some other off the cuff measurements. But it's really important that we know when you buy a new appliance, the model number is correct and it's suited for the opening and the place it's going into. And that's why we need all the info we can get. And I say we because I'm included in that as the installer. If I come out there and this has happened and I look at the box and I see a 36 and I'm at a 30-inch installation, I said, I'm sorry to tell you this, but that's not going to fit that hole. They said, what's wrong?
Yeah.
I said, it's a 36-inch.
Yeah.
Well, I thought I ordered a 30. That's why you as a homeowner need to be aware too, because I tell everybody when you get it, make sure it's the correct model number and make sure it's not damaged.
Yep.
Because damages happen.
They do.
And a lot of times it can't be helped. Mm-hmm. I mean, and a lot of times it's damage that can't be seen in a box. And it happens. I'm just putting it out there. It happens because it might have come from out west somewhere on a truck.
Right.
Who knows what's happened? But I will tell this one story. I got a job, which is rare that I install appliance that's bad or gone sour with a new model number, just like it, just like it.
Okay.
And so I went out to install a downdraft, just like it was a GE, just like the old one. Well, the new one, and when I took it out of the box, somebody had hit that box hard and it had bent the motor housing. Okay, but the old motor housing was fine. And I told the guy, I said, we're going to have to get a new appliance. And I took a picture of it, and I says, wait a minute, wait. Let's hold off here a minute. I jerked out the old motor housing and switched the new motor and put it in the old motor housing and put it on the brand new appliance. Homeowner was tickled to death. He says, did you know you could do that? I says, no, but I had to figure something out. I said, but we'll make it work. And we did. Yeah, sure. And it worked perfectly. Yeah, well, but it was still damaged. And another thing, and I'll tell you this from experience, Queen City Homestore are absolutely wonderful at taking care of the product.
Well, we do our best to inspect product before we even leave the warehouse with it, I'll be honest with you, because we don't want to inconvenience a customer either. Sure. So, because we talked about time, resource allocation, and things like that, and so our customers' time is valuable too. And so nothing worse than showing up and then you open up the product and there's damage, and I don't want that. I have to take it back and reschedule essentially because they probably have got other things to do later in that day. So we really work hard to make sure we'll cut the boxes off and inspect the product and then wrap it back up so that we don't make that dry run or whatever. And so that's something we feel like that. Well, I'll tell you, the industry, there's about 2%, 2 out of 100 are going to be damaged in the box. That's the number. And so if we can eliminate that too, so that we deliver 100 pieces in good shape to a customer, that's a big win for us and for our customers out there too, because we don't want to inconvenience them. But you talked about sizes. I can't tell you how many times a friend need a new refrigerator. How big is the one you got? What have you got? What's your standard size? Wait a minute. I got catalog after catalog and catalog. I can probably identify 100 different dimensions of refrigerators. So how can there be a standard size refrigerator?
Back in the day, though, back in the 70s.
We said we weren't going to say back in the day now.
But honestly, you got a 70s appliance. They were pretty standardized back then.
Probably.
They were very much standardized back in the 70s. But those days are long gone.
Had some pretty neat colors back then, too, didn't we?
Oh, Harvest Gold, Avocado, that copper tone.
Hey,
I remember them well.
There's a juniper green coming out now. We're seeing green appliances
They're not doing that again.
We're seeing green appliances coming out again. Cafe's got something they've been toying around with, and KitchenAid's got a new juniper, they call it. Kind of a greenish color to it. And
Juniper?
Juniper is what they call it, yeah. It's beautiful. We got it in the Pineville store, and it looks beautiful in a nice setting. The appliance business is trying to figure out how to innovate. Products gotten to a point where it's hard to innovate with technology anymore. I mean, they're all web enabled and halogen and this and that and the other. It's energy efficient, and so now it's about trying to. But you want what you want, so it's customization in essence. So you can buy juniper appliance, which is a green color. You don't have to buy stainless steel. You can buy juniper, but then we can customize it by changing the handle colors, changing the knob colors, and things like that. So you can really customize it to what looks best in your kitchen and what's more appealing to you. But we're seeing this customization in brands like Cafe and brands like KitchenAid. Some of the premium guys have always had that. Sure. But now it's coming more into the core, lower price goods. Even saw they went to Kitchen and Bath Show in Orlando this year and saw.
How was that?
It was interesting. The traffic was terrible down there, but it's a wonderful show to go to.
KB&B?
Yeah. KBIS.
KBIS.
Kitchen and Bath Industry Show. But we saw a really great looking cafe range that has a new knob coming out that makes it look like it's a European French product.
Oh, okay.
Which is beautiful. And people paid tens of thousands of dollars for brands that are French in appearance and made in France too. But it was really lovely, beautiful kind of presentation. And all they did was just change the knob on it to, kind of a cross knob with the bezel kind of thing on the end of it, or whatever is the right word. But customizing it's become more and more popular, and it kind of complicates things for us for a little bit. So it's easy to order that box for the range, but then to make sure you've got the right colored knobs in stock.
It's just like the Wolf.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, you can get different knobs for the wolf.
It's the same. Like I said, the premium guys have done it forever. You know, you've been able to buy a Viking color in 20 different Viking range in 20 different colors for 30 years. You had to buy it that way though, but now you can kind of customize it after the fact.
Right.
We've got one manufacturer that you send them a paint splotch, and they'll customize it to that color you send them.
I got you.
Crazy.
Well, our first hour is about up. We got about 50 seconds here.
Yeah.
And talking to Roddey Player from Queen City Homestore, hour number 2 going to come up. We're going to talk about, well, what's new in appliances. It's always changing. I never know what I'm going to see from one day to the next when I go out and install an appliance. But we're talking Queen City Homestore, video, audio, video, media, TVs, furniture. What else you sell these days? Goodness gracious. Bedding. Can't forget bedding.
That's right.
Bedding's a big ticket.
Yeah.
So, Roddey Player crew, how many employees you got now?
We've got about 250 people now that are working in the business.
We'll talk about 250 employees next hour, too. That's a lot of people.
It is.
We're going to take a break here, top of the hour, about up, and we'll be back with hour number 2 of About Your House. Tune in. We'll be right back.